Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We're live with the news in the northwest.
Hello, here's what's on the programme this evening.
Told off by a judge, the mum who flew to Ibiza instead of standing with her 12-year-old son in court as he faced charges of rioting.
35 years after the horror of Hillsborough, a report calls for better communication with bereaved families about post-mortems.
An appeal from the inspirational football hero who's been diagnosed with cancer for a third time.
Let's walk together and march on, and that's what I think you need to do through adversity.
How Dave has spent 3 decades helping one of the most famous landmarks look its best.
There's certainly been some glowering skies across the northwest today. The changeable theme continues, but will it remain cold? I'll have all the details later on.
Well, first tonight, and a judge has fined a mother who chose to fly to Ibiza while her 12-year-old son appeared in court for rioting in Manchester.
The 30-year-old was ordered to come to court last week when her son admitted charges of violent disorder, and the hearing was told his mother had gone on holiday the day before.
The boy is one of the youngest involved in the trouble that flared across the country following the Southport stabbings. The woman's around the same. The woman's cost. The cost of the holiday was about the same as the fine.
Today, mother and son appeared at Manchester Magistrates Court, from where our correspondent Mel Barham reports.
Yes, we can't name either the boy or his mother because of his age, but both were summoned to court today. The 12-year-old, who admitted 2 separate counts of violent disorder, is now one of the youngest to be sentenced over the riots that happened over the summer. The court was shown CCTV of how he was part of a group who attacked a bus that was outside a hotel housing asylum seekers, and then just a few days later he was filmed wearing a balaclava, attacking the windows of a vape shop and then looting a supermarket. Now, we heard victim impact statements from, amongst others, the bus driver, who said he was visibly shaken after the attack and had to go to hospital for his injuries. Also from an asylum seeker who said that he'd come to this country to feel safe. He no longer did so. Well, the judge told the boy, who did apologise, that his actions were shameful and that this was the worst type of feral behaviour, which, if he'd been an adult, would have seen him jailed for between 4 or 5 years. But she said she was giving him probably the biggest chance to put things right, as she spared him detention and instead gave him a referral order. Well, meanwhile, his mother was told to explain herself why she had decided to go on this 5-day holiday to Ibiza rather than come to court to support her son on what the judge had called the most difficult day of his life. She told the court that she'd not been told how important it was to be there. Well, she was given a parental order and ordered to pay £1,200, that's £300 to each of the 4 people who'd given victim impact statements. It was noted that that was about the same amount that her holiday to Ibiza had cost.
Mel Barham at Manchester Magistrates Court there. A review into how pathologists dealt with the victims of Hillsborough and the Manchester Arena attack has revealed families had to wait years for meetings to discuss the deaths of their loved ones.
97 football fans were unlawfully killed as a result of the 1989 tragedy. The review, published by the Home Office, said families affected by Hillsborough had been forced to wait 23 years for face-to-face meetings.
It called for better communication with the families of the bereaved. Our correspondent Andy Bonner has more.
It is now 35 years since Hillsborough, and 12 years this week since an independent panel published its damning findings into the disaster. Yet the calls for change still ring out. The former Bishop of Liverpool is the man who chaired that panel and the man who set out 25 points of learning to ensure the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. Now, one of those issues, pathology, is under examination.
The report today by the late Glenn Taylor does go into great detail about how the families were treated over the pathology and also what needs to change for the future.
The author, a retired forensic scientist, recorded a video for families.
As soon as we were able to listen to Hillsborough and Manchester Arena families, it became clear that the experience of the bereaved families, and not just the technical competence of pathologists, calls for a fresh focus. We have moved a long way since 1989, but more still needs to be done.
That fresh focus demands better communication with families, including the right for them to have a face-to-face meeting to discuss post-mortem findings. The report said Paul Price, the partner of Elaine McIver, who died in the Manchester Arena attack in 2017, met her pathologist only last year. It said pathologists should prepare for future disasters, including the need for families to learn whether their loved ones could have survived in different circumstances. Pathology is a very particular subject, and the 72 pages this runs to means that it isn't the heaviest of volumes. In fact, the 315 cut-off from the original coroner hardly gets a mention. The original Hillsborough inquest had no evidence from after the so-called cut-off, a decision based on flawed pathology evidence that all victims had suffered their fatal injuries before that time. It's difficult to overstate the impact of the failures of pathology, you said previously. Does this report go far enough into addressing those failures?
In terms of the areas covered, I think it is spot on. The families were impressed by the depth of the report, and they are now looking to the Home Secretary to implement the changes.
The government said it's asked for the actions identified to be taken forward immediately. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Liverpool.
Well, next, and people with poor mental health don't always get the right help at the right time. They can fall between services, too unwell for one and not ill enough for another.
Many face long waiting lists or receive treatment that helps mask symptoms but fails to address the underlying reasons for their mental health difficulties.
Well, a new community mental health service called Living Well, which was piloted in the North West and is now being rolled out nationally, is hoping to address those issues and support people with their mental health challenges. This report from Anna Joseph.
Good afternoon, Living Well. Leah speaking. How can I help?
Leah's always liked helping people. The mum of four was a nurse for 18 years, but when her mental health spiralled, she was the one who needed help.
My anxiety was really high. I wasn't sleeping. I was anticipating going in work the next day. I was feeling very nauseous. I was having palpitations, a lot of headaches. You just go within yourself and you become very withdrawn. You start to feel isolated and alone. I felt like I wasn't able to give my best in work, and then I ended up spiralling into depression and low mood.
Medication wasn't working, and there was a long waiting list for talking therapy.
How bad did it get there?
I did experience some very dark thoughts. I didn't see a way out. I felt like I was in a really black hole. I couldn't see the light.
But a light came when Leah's GP referred her to a new community mental health service called Living Well Salford. Their goal is to offer holistic support to people by listening to their needs and concerns and helping with issues that may be affecting their mental health, like employment, housing or debt.
Living Well listened. They helped me find my confidence. They gave me a voice and they empowered me to make positive choices for me. And recognise the things that I could do to change my life.
So that's 5 booked onto the gardening for a Tuesday, is that okay?
Fantastic.
Leah decided to leave nursing. She now works for the service she says helped her through some of her darkest times. When Yanne started experiencing problems with his mental health, he felt isolated and alone.
I was in free fall, losing memory and ability to concentrate properly, to be able to focus on important things. So I kind of saw it coming, and then when I lost my job, that's when everything crashed.
He was referred to Living Well and met with a recovery worker on a regular basis.
That was one of the main benefits, because it wasn't any longer like these 10-minute GP appointments that I had before that. I had my main contact, who I met, and she organised me to start going to talking therapy, and you know, checked on me.
Just knowing that somebody is there to listen to you can help, can't it?
Yes, it can.
The service helped Yanni find another job in finance, and he began to feel better mentally.
Well, I feel like I have a purpose, and I feel that because I can go back to ask for help if I feel, you know, that I need it. That's a wonderful feeling.
Does anyone need anything from me today?
The service was piloted in Salford. Its success means it's now being rolled out nationally. The team behind it say it works because it puts people at the centre.
So really moving away from assessments to thinking much more about conversations and developing relationships, and really getting mental health back to basics, and really thinking about that human approach, listening and really thinking with the individual, how best can we help you and how best can we meet your needs? What do you think is going to be helpful?
Taking a new approach to mental health and giving people the right help at the right time. Anna Yosef, ITV News.
We move on to more of the day's news, and a mother whose 10-week-old baby son died after she left him home alone to go to work at the Royal Bolton Hospital has been jailed for 3 years. 21-year-old Ruth Orter was arrested as she tried to board a flight to Nigeria while awaiting sentence for child cruelty. She'd returned home from work in December 2022 to find her son Joshua unresponsive.
A motion will be put forward later calling for Oldham Borough Council to erect a memorial at an unmarked burial site where the bodies of almost 300 children and babies were found. The mass grave was recently uncovered in Royton Cemetery. Now there are calls for records relating to the grave to be made more accessible so families can find out what happened and say goodbye.
Now, just as autumn makes the weather even colder and wetter than it was during our short-lived so-called summer, people living in one part of Liverpool will be cheered up by some giant flowers on their doorsteps.
Yeah, that's in the shape of murals painted on the gable end of houses on what's known as the Flower Streets in Kirkdale. It's hoped they'll brighten the area and even cut antisocial behaviour. Tim Scott has been to have a look.
Art is made to be seen, and I think it's just so much better when it's out directly on a building like this and it's for everybody.
Oh, it's brilliant. You feel different, you know, this is our community. This is what gets done for us.
City streets transformed. These stunning murals in Kirkdale in Liverpool are the result of months of hard work involving the local community, the City Council and arts organisation Dot Art. Madeline Perez is the artist.
They want to make the area safer and a nicer place to live for the local people. It's been quite a neglected neighbourhood over the years, and the council wanted to do something to make the area safer and better for them.
These streets are all named after flowers, crocus, daisy and snowdrop for example, and each mural has incorporated the flowers into the final design. The artworks are a celebration of the community and aim to rejuvenate the area, as well as addressing the issue of antisocial behaviour. The artist Madeline has been responsible for actually painting the murals, but local people have been involved every step of the way, and each of these paintings contains words and images that relate to the people who live here.
This is two of my granddaughters. This one here is Alexis and the other one over there is Holly Lee. I think it was more because they're here all the time and Madeline's seeing them and she asked, you know, would it be nice? And I said, yeah, it will be nice, and I'm very, very proud of it.
They're great. They've really cheered the place up. The colours are beautiful.
For Dave Brown, the mural at the end of his street is especially poignant. It bears the name of his young son, Daniel, who passed away 25 years ago.
Every time I pass, his name is there. Daniel loved the trains. He loved the doors opening and shutting. And now we've got new trains, which is something else. Yeah. So I say to him, son, come on, we're going on the trains. Because he loved the trains, yeah.
Madeline is due to complete the murals by the end of the month, a lasting legacy for those who live here and something the neighbourhood can be proud of. Tim Scott, ITV News, Liverpool.
A lasting legacy indeed. Well, next tonight, and this week, the Princess of Wales revealed she was cancer-free after finishing chemotherapy treatment. This is how we all found out.
As the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family. Life as you know it can change in an instant, and we've had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown.
Yeah, it's really good news, isn't it? But for many living with cancer, the hope of being free of the disease remains just that, a hope.
Tonight we hear from an inspirational footballer who's been diagnosed with cancer for the 3rd time.
Joe Thompson is 35, and as he continues to undergo treatment for Hodgkin lymphoma, he's also training for a 21-mile fundraising walk from Manchester United, where he began his career, to Rochdale, where he finished it.
He sat down with Mike Hall and told him how he hopes the funds can be spent.
I've got a long-term vision and it's way beyond me. I always believed that you should be the change that you wish to see, and for me it's a wellness centre to be able to incorporate and bring some of the obviously learnings through the hardship that I've been through, and to be able to open that up to the wider public and use that as a place that can educate people in and around their health and their wellness.
Now, the last time we saw you was back in May.
Yeah.
You hosted a charity football match in Rochdale.
Yeah.
And you only arrived at half-time, but that was because you'd come straight from the Christie, where you'd been having a chemotherapy session, which speaks volumes about your character, that you wanted to be there. How is the treatment going, and how are you?
Yeah, so I'm great. Treatment at the moment's on pause. You know, I'm in constant contact with the hospital in regards to what the plan looks like or may look like moving forward. But yeah, the game itself was incredible. The turnout was truly heartwarming, quite overwhelming.
And you went straight back to the Christie,
I
where you
did.
then watched the report on the news.
Yeah, so the funny thing was the following day I was in having one more day of chemotherapy, and there was a gentleman that had it up on his iPad, and I heard my voice and I was watching it over his shoulder, and he kind of looked at me and was like, it's brilliant to see, you know, a positive story on the news, and fair play to him. And he looked me stone dead in the eye, and I know he didn't like kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, yeah, you're right, it's brilliant to see. So yeah, I had a little chuckle to myself that night.
Aside from your treatment at the Christie, I know you're exploring all kinds of different treatments. Your days are packed trying new things, aren't they? You start at, what, 5 in the morning?
Yeah, we try and get up as early as possible. And that being said, I go to bed pretty early. So yeah, early as possible. There's red light therapy, there's hyperbaric chambers, there's high dose vitamin C. I just don't want to leave any stone unturned. I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my powers to obviously overcome the hurdle that's in front of me.
Over the years, Joe, you've always shown such great strength and determination and positivity, clearly so important, but I'm guessing not always easy to have.
No, not at all. And there is, you know, there's some bad days, and I think it's really important when we look at the walk. The walk was born out of a conversation with my good friend Stephen Darby, who suffers from motor neurons disease, and I often hear who motivates the motivator, and it's people like Stephen Darby that inspire me. And I wake up most mornings and he's one of the first people that I think about, because when you're living with that disease, I'm like, wow, how do you get up every morning and have a smile on your face knowing that what could possibly be on the horizon? So when he came with the challenge, I was like, yeah, I've got to do it. Again, it's another calling. Come out, let's create a real community spirit, and yeah, let's walk together and march on, and that's what I think you need to do through adversity, and it's a real exciting time for me, for sure.
Well, as always, Joe, we wish you all the very best. I hope you raise a lot of money. Thank you so much for coming to see us.
No, thank you.
Yeah, just to echo what Mike said, we really do wish Joe all the very best with the rest of his treatment. What an inspirational guy.
He is, and I often say this, you think that you moan about the traffic and the fact that the kids won't do the homework and what have you.
Yeah.
We've got nothing to worry about, have we, compared to people like that?
Yeah, wish you good.
And you can see lots more of that interview with Joe and find out how to join him on that fantastic walk on our website. Just go to itv.com/Granada.
Well, next tonight, and it has been billed as the biggest night in British television, and as ever, there are big hopes for North West success.
The National Television Awards take place this evening. You can watch them live on ITV from 8 o'clock.
Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore is on the red carpet at the O2 in London, and it's getting pretty busy there, Cal.
Do you know what, Gamal? It is. It's actually getting really busy now. About 2 minutes ago, it was dead, and I was thinking, I'm going to have no one to talk to. But here we are. Television's biggest night of the year, of course, the National Television Awards held here, as you said, the O2 Arena in London. The sun has come out for us. Fourth year at the helm, comedian Joel Dommett will, of course, be hosting the proceedings at 8 o'clock this evening. But, as always, there are huge amounts of North West talent in the nominations. Manchester's Michelle Keegan is in 3 categories. Of course, she was in Coronation Street. She then went on to bigger and better things. She did Fool Me Once. That's up. She's up for drama performance. And guess who I've managed to get? Here she is. Nicole Schindler, you are the executive producer of Fool Me Once with Danny Brocklehurst, who wrote it. Goodness me, you're up. What do you think the chances are of Fool Me Once?
Don't know, it's a really tough category. There's loads of brilliant dramas in it, but it's just brilliant to be here.
It is, it's amazing. And Michelle has done fantastic as well, hasn't she?
Yeah, her being nominated for Best Actress is brilliant because she did such hard work and she was fantastic in the role.
Yeah. Danny, you wrote Fool Me Once. You wrote also, you wrote Brassic, didn't you? For you, how is it for you coming here? You're a lad from Hyde.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I mean, I've been twice before and not once, so maybe it's third time lucky, you know, about time.
Yeah, and I've heard Michelle's here, but she's not doing any talking. Why won't she talk to us?
Unless Danny writes her lines.
Yeah, I can write her some lines and then she'll talk.
Danny, you need to write her a line. Goodness me. Well, best of luck this evening. And moving along here. Wow. Davy Potts, winner of Big Brother. You look amazing.
Yay, thank you so much.
I love it how we've got a sequined cast here.
Yeah, we've got the sling, matching the train. You know? Yeah, we've got a match. Do you know what I mean? We've got to bring the drama.
He always brings a drama, doesn't he?
Always
brings the drama, but sometimes great drama. Great drama.
Always great drama.
And you both look incredible. Bradley, you look incredible as well. You met on Big Brother, didn't you?
Yes, we met on Big Brother and I haven't got rid of him yet, so.
Rude.
No.
Does he not know you won?
He's obsessed with me.
What do you think the chances are? Oh, yeah. We're live. Charlotte Dawson. She's giving us a spin. I think Charlotte doesn't realise we're live. How are you, lovely?
Darlings, we're live. I love being live.
I don't know who's got the biggest laugh out of you two.
Both of us. She was on my podcast last week and it's literally both of us just going,
I love the cackle. I love a good old jumping cackle. Brilliant. Well, good luck this evening, all of you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to ITV. It's on at 8 o'clock and ITVX as well. Back to you.
Well, it's clearly all going on in that London. Cal, thank you.
Caroline looking just as glamorous as everybody else, to be honest. Now, the Blackpool Tower is probably the most famous building in the North West.
And nobody knows it better than Dave Hume. For 30 years, he's maintained the tower, and now he's written a book about his decades on top of the world.
Rachel Pritchard reports.
Blackpool's famous tower, all 500 feet of it, is the high spot of Lancashire's favourite pleasure ground.
For 130 years, the magnificent Blackpool Tower has been part of the North West skyline. And for 30 of those years, it was Dave Hume who kept it looking its best.
I was chipping and painting, knocking the loose paint off, knocking the rust off, and then painting it, making sure it was all good to go again. We always used to compare it to the Forth Road Bridge, 7 years for this to go from top to bottom, then you started at the top again.
It's a lovely colour. What is this colour?
It will have a number, it will have a definite code number, but it used to be just on the tin, it just used to be called Tower Red. It's not the best colour to light up, unfortunately. There's a lot better colours because it just absorbs all the light, but you can't change the colour without government permission almost.
Dave worked as a rigger maintaining the structure, a job that needed a head for heights and a strong stomach.
We used to walk the steel, you know, you used to see the steel workers in America walking the skyscrapers. That was it, nothing to hold on to. You walked across the steelwork to get where you needed to be.
During his time, Dave met all sorts of people, even a new family pet.
In the summertime, when it's hot and people have the windows open at home, they have the budgie flying about and they used to come to the tower. So one day I heard this budgie or saw this budgie, so no safety. You climb up to where it is, nice and quietly, just see it, grabbed it, I stuck it in my overall pocket, fastened it down and took it down. I took it home to my mum and she had it for years.
Have you seen over the years people reacting in strange ways when they come to this bit?
Definitely, yeah, they'll go and then change their mind and decide not to go across it or just stand there shaking. Disco leg, you call it, like that.
How does it make you feel standing here?
Well, you get a great view of the tower. It's been stood for 130 years. You can see the shape of it and it'll still be here for another 130 years.
So, Dave, it's the famous Tower Ballroom. You must have memories from working here.
Yeah, as well as being up on the top, we'd come down here as well and change and clean the chandeliers every year.
And of course, Strictly is filmed here. That must have been fun.
Yeah, so that's a very busy time for the tower, and that's on because there's so much equipment comes in, yeah.
Not everyone's place of work includes a circus, does it?
No, not unless they're lucky. Once when we came down, there was through the back there was a tiger on a load of straw bales having an operation on its tooth.
And more of Dave's stories can be found in his book, Tall Tales, which will be out next year. Rachel Pritchard, ITV News, Blackpool.
I've never been to the top of the tower, but I know that without doubt, if I did, I'd be one of those with disco legs.
I live in fear of being sent on a job there because I just know that I'd be...
Yeah, not for me.
So, fingers crossed we don't. Anyway.
Now, the weather for Thursday is looking cool and breezy again. Here is Joe with all the details.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. Very good evening to you. What a chilly day today. We've seen some really heavy downpours around. It's made for some pretty rainbows here and there, but that cold feel continues into this evening and again for tomorrow with more showers to come. By Friday, it'll be settling down weather-wise with a bit of sunshine to end the working week, and temperatures will recover into the weekend, but for the time being, the jet stream's dipping to the south of the UK, pulling cold air in across our part of the world. By the weekend, we reintroduce a westerly airflow and temperatures will recover to around average for the time of year. But back to this evening, it's feeling cold out there, more showers feeding through across the Isle of Man, down through Mersey Bay area, Cheshire overnight tonight. But for parts of Lancashire and Cumbria, it will become a little drier and clearer. And as a consequence, pretty chilly in rural spots down to around 2 or 3 degrees tonight, with those showers continuing for the southwestern corner of the region as we head towards dawn. And on to tomorrow, the sun is up at 6:40. It'll be setting just after 7:30 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow then, an unsettled start to the day for parts of Cheshire. We'll see further heavy showers from Merseyside through the first part of the day, the Lancashire coast. The best of the sunshine reserved for Greater Manchester, Lancashire and Cumbria tomorrow. But showers could crop up anywhere through the afternoon. It could be heavy, but they'll be fewer and further between than they have been today. Cold though in that wind, 12 or 13 Celsius at best. Now looking ahead, and Friday should be a dry day with some sunshine, feeling quite pleasant in the afternoon after a cold start. It becomes unsettled through the weekend, but it won't be quite as cold. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Right, I'm going to be controversial and tell you that
Yeah.
I put the heating on this morning.
Yeah.
I was still waiting
I
for the
know.
end of the summer.
Yeah, something tells me you're not the only person that has done that.
It's not going to happen, is
I
it?
know. But sunshine on Friday and Saturday, that's something to look forward to.
OK. I'm back after news at 10. See you then.
Bye-bye.